There we go. It took a couple attempts. I was muted on many a computer. Sounds like fun. I'm excited for this game. I was so excited I lost my voice. Can you imagine, Richie? I was out there screaming. I couldn't believe it was the run at you lineup. I finally recovered it. I think it's gonna be a good game.
I agree. I'm glad you got it back, because I think we're in for a bit of a barn burner here between the two. I mean, we've got the 9 Invoker in this mid lane. TA's going to get a bunch of farm.
Prepare
we have 2 games in a row now for the disruption here on the Shadow Demon. This time for Brame. I mean, this time
he has
it is
more
actually
spells
still
too.
a position 4.
Trust you.
So it's going to be looking good. The only thing I had to tag on to the end of that little draft analysis that was so excellent by Aoi, Trent, of course, was that although we don't have like a great setup for Mirana, it's always something to consider when you do pick yourself a Shadow Demon, that you will be setting, you know, sometimes yourself or your allies up for these, like a Mirana arrow, like a Split Earth, like say. But we need something to proc, because obviously Stoneman is not just going to walk up and Astral Prison. He's not just going to disrupt himself in the middle of it. Fun. We need someone to like Lincoln. I don't know if we really have those kinds of heroes though on top. Like proc a response. Where do you want to disrupt someone? Sure, obviously if they get lasso, but other than that, it's like you really want to disrupt someone after a tornado, maybe, but then you more Joker combos. It's going to be, I think, a little bit of a tough game for Snaking, but hey, he excelled last time in the Clockwork game, and able to ride a lot of momentum.
The battle begins.
I understood that as the lane has those. I would say that in the mid game, you definitely have the Invoker as it's set up for the arrow. Cause Wex or it's a bit difficult if you're not good at Dota.
That's a good point. A good point.
Cold Snap is somewhat of a setup for the arrow, at least Drow or TA. Well, TA no, because most heroes that don't have a Shadow Demon is there. Always go. I don't think it's gonna be too difficult. I mean, I still remember the tweet where like PPD was complaining about the fact that Mirana is a really difficult hero, and she's like, I just went in 9-3 on Mirana, first time playing her in forever. Ooh, what a difficult. Those arrows, they're not that. You don't need it that much of a setup. Only at lane, I think, is where the arrows are much more obvious. There's obviously a clear idea as to what you do, and the best thing Bat can do is flame break you with the arrow, which 3-3 certainly could do. His Bat's pretty great, but it's not the easiest.
All right, we'll see here. Shall see. There's arrow number 1 into the face of Spartan. Already showing up a setup. Let Spartan walk into arrows down bottom. Mata is going to get disrupted here, but with only too much. But we've at least interrupted the creep pull.
Small things hang. Great ones.
Full experience sports.
You are a Viper with. Snaking's like, I'd rather farm. Why hit the Viper and harass him when I... He's bringing the wave. I do agree with the panel that Mad Riders really. If Invoker wasn't such a good bid, if you couldn't flex him at all, I would have been good. I just don't think.
Do you think there's ever like a concern? Because it's like a very target-rich environment here. Mad Rider, right? Like obviously you absolutely stomped EA, not just in lane, but generally, and same thing with Timbersaw. But these aren't like heroes that stand on top of each other and fight, right? They're in very different parts, and the Drow Ranger, of course, destroyed. So doesn't it feel like a little bit target-rich here, even too target-rich, perhaps for 43? That how do you prioritize? And obviously, you don't jump Drow first in the game, right? First you're Timber at his peak. I feel like at some stage there is some crossover here before it happens.
I mean, I feel like most of the time, maybe early you do target Timber, but once Timber becomes target shot is the win condition in question. So either Drow or TK, depending on who is or who you think is under that moment. And with a Timber, you just deal with it with. Cold Snap is really good against reasons because you cast it. Unless he has some way of protecting himself from damage of the vessel. The Tornado and EMP is a great way to deal with Timber as well, to ignore him. You can even get an arrow against them and ignore him that way. TB just really depends. So do feel like most opportunity is going to be Drow or Ti. Like, sometimes maybe even the Shadow Demon because he can save people.
Clark there, to be able to escape the Metamorphosis TP. Just need that one extra auto attack mono player to make sure it's already CSing a tier 2 tower versus Wish. It's really Wish who's bent beyond the tier 1. Bit of an awkward spot here, but wave auto sips for TA. So good, TA. As we'd expect, you know, you're able to hold your own. The Invoker doesn't really have a whole lot of kill threat on you unless you rotate a couple fourths on it. Job done. That might be the time then maybe snaking skew as it goes to the mid. Smart. Water.
I mean, right now, you know that Brame is really solid. At least mid, right? You're probably not going to try to pressure until the Invoker comes online, or maybe... Right? I think that's actually why I like snaking strat. I don't know if you've seen it. Taking the big creeps in a safer camp. Kind of reminds me of what Department from South Park takes the... Kind of like the great part, and then get left with the scraps. He sees stacks, doesn't care, take the big creeps on the stacks, and then it feels bad to farm with TA. So it's actually a pretty good solution to this. And actually even gets a kill, snaking. I mean, so clean. Look at this, he even starts storm, he's gonna die, so Mana's not gonna save himself no matter what. David used reflection trying to get the kill, but snaking deserved it.
It was
I don't know if he deserved that one. Focus sure thought he did for daring to pile up the 6 stack with an napalm on him. So it's going to be at least a kill in return. Autumn, Scarlet. Secret shop. No, yeah, I mean, you're completely right. You know, to go back to the, just removing all the good parts about it, right? It's like flicking all the seasoning off of a chip and then putting it back in the bag. Point. Thinking though, they're going to punish him for that. Says, excuse me, that's extremely unsanitary. They have now got the 3 stacks of the Shadow Poison. They're going to need a little bit more, and footwork here is going to get...
What a god. He calculated it specifically, right? To go exactly on that edge, and not even Stomanic to count. Just the lane for the Pat is not going as well as he'd love, though, because laning against Drow is not really... It's really at the mid game he was perfectly successful. So maybe 3-3 won't be able to go for the... I mean, it depends. If they make him some stacks, perhaps he can still deviate into like the Drow backfighter. Sometimes it feels a bit greedy when you're playing the offlane backfighter to go for that.
Dire's middle tower
you only have like a
is
single...
under attack.
Sometimes Link Dagger just missed the early to catch the Drow. SSA in trouble, super slow, SSA is dead. Dead. He's spinning a fair amount though.
Yeah, it's good damage, just making sure he can do at least as much damage before he goes out. D-ward for D-ward, so no one's going to have good vision here in the area. It's kind of funny to see them both test the flip spots. A lot of the times I see the Dire team like kind of watches over the tower.
Blessings. Radiant are scanning.
Wanting to just watch over the stacks. I think that makes a lot of sense. Bat Rider, of course, no matter what his first item, going to clear BOTs. Whether it's when maybe he's going to go a little funky and go for a first item DKP, right? So he needs to farm it. The only way Bat Rider can realistically do that is by getting these stacks. Right movement focus. It's slowed now, snaking with the arrow at the ready, will be caught. Rado's gonna miss, but focus is gonna be dead nonetheless. Snaking live as well here on 30 HP. Spartan is good to go, and for his troubles.
It's pretty
there,
huge.
even getting the urn charges.
So in this game, obviously the ideal build of Wish,
Dire's top
you know how
tower
to kill him.
is
All you
under
fun. He's
attack.
waiting for the refraction to drop. Oh, he stole the creep! Fonda, you sneaky bad. First the snaking stealing creeps, now it's Fonda. This whole team is... But what I like about Tundra's rotation is that obviously the best build of BOTs
Dire's top
just suggesting
tower
Blink
is
and
under
Pets
attack.
really BOTs is almost always ideal, and this game is certain. So if Invoker can rotate and secure some of your farm that way,
Dire's
if you can
top
get that
tower
help
has
so you
fallen.
can actually free farm, if you can slow down the game or control the tempo through your mid laner rather than your off laner, then I think you can fulfill that role. And then Terrorblade, the draft also mentioned how he's pretty strong if he gets meta relatively early, push against a tower. Oh, wow. He has pretty... This pack's pretty poor winner against Drow Ranger because the panel said he does struggle in the lane. She will eventually outscale him, so you have to play a bit more Templar, which is what the Invoker and Bat Rider are.
It's you know, we casted lower division in Eastern Europe for both seasons. Season number 1, of course, with Bates, we had RDO, and RDO a prolific Terrorblade pick. I recall a certain team fight exchange. I don't remember who Bait was playing, but basically the poor TB, late game, mind you, just basically got 3-shot by a Drow Ranger. There's just nothing you can do really once you get to the.
Allies.
You got really close to just about equal range. She goes through all of your armor, and it's. So that's where 33 comes in, all right? That's why it's not just a 1v1 game. Despite what your hard carry say, it's important to have plenty of other answers, right? And you can buy money, and you can buy, you know, items, and try and itemize your way around it. But this one is pretty set in stone. Drow Rangers go toe-to-toe with the TB.
Dyer's
Probably
middle
5
tower
times out of
is under
6,
attack.
Drow's gonna be standing at the end.
Yeah, the only answer you really have, yeah, it was against Husband. So Fata, careful, he might just die here with the Shadow Poison. One more stack is what he's looking for. Fata will avoid it, so he's gonna be safe. The option you have, of course, we have seen a couple of people. There was actually a, you know, massive post about this back when this happened. Just you can buy AC as opposed to one flight, right? On Terrorblade, give you that base that armor, because obviously
Radiant's
TB
middle
only
tower
or
is
Drow's
under
marksmanship
attack.
only goes through its armor, not through added armor. So that's a solution if you want to just expand your window a bit. But at best, you're only expanding your window opportunity for 4 minutes. You're not going to be able to beat. Still isn't like game changer.
Yeah, absolutely. Because at the end of the day, like, we still have other issues, right? Plenty of magic damage out from the Viper, even if it is a position 5, right? We're not expecting to scale as 33 did last game. Plenty of pure damage on the Timbersaw. Sure, we've got a Bat Rider to hopefully at least
Dyer's
stifle his
bottom
game,
tower
but
is under
he's still going to
attack.
be a threat, and plenty of damage as well. So it's, you know, there are no real great answers here today. For skiter, there's no one perfect item, so I'm eager to see how they're going to look and address this issue. So far, I mean, the 2K net worth lead, nothing huge, but it's the start of something good here for Tundra, especially as they were able to ruin a couple of jungle camps for Brame.
It's pretty big when that 2K, first of all, is reflected partially in your Murano, somehow has matched it for like the net worth value of most cores, and also when Timbersaw's looking, he has 2K net worth. It is not the stuff you wish for. And they made a point to this again at the panel. I mean, I keep going back to them because I feel like they break the whole game. If Brame actually snowballs and they play this really well, like it doesn't matter, they lack stuns to really initiate with, and Timbersaw will win with his massive body and tank all the damage and force Brame to win the fight. But if you don't get the early game that you require, Timbersaw can't do that, and it's easy for Tundra to control. As we're seeing here, skiter desperately running away from Terrorblade in a back.
He's not enjoying life. You know, again, a second game in a row for Skylark where he's, again, struggling. They just smoke play this time from Brame. They're bringing 3 over. It's both supports, of course. They're going to attempt to try and find a kill. Fontos will be the first one they find. He's got a Photic Shield, though. He is too easy to catch. Moonlight Shadow.
Dyer's middle tower is under
what
attack.
his weight's behind.
Yeah, I mean, your hunting squad is just not that strong, right? What do you set up with? You go like Disruption, 5% of Nether Toxin, and you spit on the person till die. I mean, Timbersaw can maybe put his body, but without it, defiance.
Illusion.
You know,
I mean, at least he's got
it's
chakra.
difficult.
He's got chakra.
Yeah, I mean, he deals damage, but he's not going to tank anything. And Verona has more farms in this round. This should not be happening. Snaking has been literally stealing creeps all game long, and that's all he's had to do. I mean, of course, there's expensive Fanta, who has no farm here. You can't the Photic Shield yourself with the Demonic Purge. He does have the Molotov, so it's been fine. And
I mean, are we surprised though that Snaking is being this effective in his jungling tactics, right? In his like kind of ability, we should call it. He is the jungler, right? This is one of the few people in the current patch that plays at this level who will just go into the jungle.
I mean, I think he was just looking at last game. He's like, guys, did you see my performance last game? Do I really deserve to be 4? I think I deserve to be bumped up. I pretty much carried you guys. He's like, well, I mean, I don't know. So now he's playing Barana, and he's gonna carry the game for us.
Hero.
For us being
Skylark.
Tundra, by the way.
Got him. Yeah, that's already a vessel for 9. Skylark, you can run, can you hide, can you heal? He can't. He's alive. But my goodness, does he really desperately want this hooded up? And that was just a tornado setup we were talking about. 9, it's got Sunstrike. It's a pretty low level. I don't think this is going to... Oh, Soul Ring was used? This would be quite a good guess.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
He's not getting that. I mean, you could try, but at this point, I feel like Brame... Well, I don't know if you can initiate onto 9.
Okay.
Alright, with the TP, Demonic Purge first. Yeah, they have a couple helping him out though. 9. Tornado, definitely less first. TP, but he's disarmed him. However, Disruption will stop the TP from completing. 9. Tornado to get a bit more space, but he's gonna die to Wish's damage. Wish, who's the only, like, truly farmed hero from Brame, and actually has gotten some really decent item progression. He might be the person that Brame can play around the following
Dire's
minutes.
middle tower is under attack. Dire's structures are fortified.
They have to play around something, right? Because they're about to lose their last tier 1 tower. And
Yeah, and that's Wish.
this is already starting to look like one of those games where as soon as you lose all 3 of your lanes, there's just nothing in your draft meant to really withstand this, right? It's starting to feel just awful. Maybe a kill here is going to be good onto the TP, but it's you do. They don't have stuns. They want to run at enemies. As soon as they just run away, they've got nothing to keep them in place.
I will say, to be fair, despite the fact that you don't have, you're right, you don't have stuns to get picked, but you do have pretty decent dead laners in general with Timbersaw and Channel Demon, right? You have solid core-to-core matchups and 2 good mid-game power spikes with Drow and TA that feel decent, even if that is still... Even have a way to deal with that with Disruption, right? So, yeah, it's difficult for you to set the tempo of the game, but it's not entirely gone if you can force the enemy to fight. And especially if Tundra makes mistakes, you definitely have ways to punish. I wouldn't say it's looking that dire just yet. This is looking good for Brame.
Okay. I will very quickly just, you know, bounce off of that by saying that Snaking is now out-farmed Focus by a couple of 100 gold. Focus is about to change this as we speak.
But Snaking is second. He's second this team's net worth. He's out farming his own Bat Rider and his own Invoker. This does not count. This is not fair because you're taking farm away from your own course, Snake. I mean, his build is great though for this mech into Yols versus his own setup.
Oh yeah, it's fantastic, and I mean he's just all around the map. That's something that he does really well when he does play these junglers, whether it be the Veno or the Enigma. I think are the only two I've really seen on. Just hold that thought mid lane. There's more for the arrow setup after the tornado. A little bit late, unfortunately. Come on, anyone. Fata behind enemy lines, though, is a bit of a rough spot. Disruption to waste a little bit more of this borrowed time. Fata, all he can do is just turn and ask for a high 5 instead. Receives a big old melt strike. Wish, and that'll put.
Okay, that seemed like a bad play by Fata, but actually really smart when he fit there because he forced him to keep going. Otherwise, he was going to be. They get a free kill, but that allowed the Terrorblade to finish off the tower that was really close anyway. So it got you the space that we were talking about. It's certainly more valuable than a Fata with 1800.
Oh, Timbersaw.
Yeah, they have the lasso. They use it right as the Timber Chain comes out. That's so Skylord can see the hope of escaping and it's extinguished right in front of his eyes.
It's an arrow. Catch Spartan here, so at least Brame, they won't lose any heroes in the middle lane. But not going to be able to get really anything out of the turn. In fact, skiter just immediately into the jungle. Kind of going off the same mentality that I was about to commence snaking for, is that when he does play these junglers, and I'll include Morana in this just so slightly because of this game, he's doing the same thing. He plays junglers in the enemy jungle, which is something that's really annoying because then you force your supports to go and get rid of them. You can't really let someone take all your jungle farm like that, especially if you can do them easily, because it just ruins your force game. Jungling is a pretty huge aspect of the game
under attack
currently, along with Roche, but for better for worse, if you've got someone who can just take stacks and ruin the efficiency in the jungle, like Snaking has, it's a really hard game to win.
To add to that, it's especially important to be dire. You have currently, usually considered the better triangle. Your jungle is also easier. So usually you can take a good advantage of your jungle before the jungle swaps come out, right? So usually you actually do farm out the jungle quite decently. Your camps are slightly closer together as well, so they're a bit... There's a lot of advantages being dire. That Snaking is just taken away from him. And we're harping at this guy, but he's actually just doing really solid game.
Bottom?
Brave, they do fight Fata, but it's just the Fata kill. Bottom might be a bit more important as they're going for Timbersaw yet again, and Skylark desperately trying to recover. Actually got stopped. But I think that was 3-3, right? Who put the tree there? No. Who put the tree there? He put himself?
It might have been 33 there. Hold on, let me check the recap. I'm not sure. I'm not sure who put the tree. There is an empty slot missing for 33. It might have been him, but no one's got the Ironwood. But hey, good pick off there. Again, just punishing Skylark, just like last game, and unlike last game, Skylark is not going to get better when you get this first item. Right? Once we had the ag side line, the game shifted fundamentally to Skylark. No one really was too interested in running him down because he had this Dispel, he had this magic immunity, and he had his team playing around him. This time he's going to just have to keep doing this. You can see he's just going to keep marching back down into the bottom lane.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Let's see Tundra. Dominate the enemy jungle, trying to finish off focus. This is the edge of what they already started this point. They go for the TA first, that's a good lasso, but there's no follow-up just yet. There's the arrow. Okay, that's gonna be all the follow-up you need. Arrow sets up for the kill, Wish is dead, and that's the most important hero on Brame right now. This sets up for Roshan.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack. Dire
It's gonna be relatively easy. Thinking of lining up the max duration arrow. Easy enough. You already know he does. He's already got a Yule Scepter and a mech. He's finally been overtaken by the rest of the force in the game, so except of course minus Skylark. But this is gonna be a very early Roshan, especially compared to last game. And
Radiant's top tower is under
not
attack.
not fighting shape, least of all versus a level 4 metamorphosis was alacrity. Skitter's already punching with.
Yeah, and despite your core-to-core matchup eventually being good, you have to get to that point, right? So the window opportunity right now for Tundra wide open, and Terrorblade, of course, like Drow doesn't still have enough damage or enough survivability, really, because that's what she has to be able to burst him down and deal with poker metal. I mean, even if she gets caught by a Yule Scepter from the run, she's really dead. Arrow her once.
This is getting closer to that first item, though. Very least, he's really great progress on that style. That's going to be not the point of inflection I think you're speaking about, but it is a good one. Wish now with Blink on top of the Deso and the Lance does provide a bit of more kill threat.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
you go
attack.
Skylark up in the Tornado,
Radiant
Scepter.
structures are
So
fortified.
got plenty, actually only 10 reactive armor stacks, and they're not doing much because of the vessel. He might just tick down to it. No, he's alive on a hair of HP. At least this time he will not go down, but if we look back down bottom, Focus has been just cut off by Skitter. He's going to close the door on him and just run him down, even in melee form. 33 gets the kill back towards the mid lane. That 9 is left completely alone. 33 is going to join him with the BOTs, but not much he could do by that stage. And actually, Wish jumping forward might have thought about going for 33, but 33 says, yeah, you sure about that? Might even decide to go back in. Blink Dagger in 3, he's got Lasso.
Yeah, he's considering it. He might just go try to kill Wish, but your other teammates are not too strong. Disruption is actually killing Fata. Run, Fata! Your teammate wants to kill you. This is a nightmare for a support. He's helped his core farm so much. He should have done just like snaking, right? And stolen the Terrorblade's farm. Because now he's killing. It just sucks to be 5. Snaking's too strong though. He's stronger than Timber, so I don't think he minds he's after him. That team fight did go decently for Brame. I mean, yeah, you lost focus in the bottom lane, but you got an Invoker in exchange. Since you want to elongate this game up as possible, it's fine. It's just that Skitter's looking a bit scary.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
Oh, smart. I don't think it's where you should be. He's trying to defend, but he's a position 5 Viper with no escape mechanisms, which means he's dead.
I'm a little bit surprised he even bothered turning around and 2 or 3 flaps with his wings. He was not going anywhere there.
Is under
That's
attack.
70%.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Please
Dire's
create
top
space for
tower
this big
is
down
falling.
bottom. Careful though, focus.
Radiant's
Key in
bottom
for a
tower is falling.
did not connect on the arrow. Skylark gets here. The Yule Scepter out from him. The Skitter now continues to give chase. Second step, they're just going to aim for Skylark. Focus is able to at least evade this fight. Takes Skylark then high and dry. And it's going to be picked down by the Metamorphosis.
Yeah, I mean, I said it when we started the game that maybe your ideal target for Lasso is not Timber, but if Timber's bad,
Dire's bottom tower
he's a
is
freak
under
at this
attack.
point. Obviously they wanted focus, but a little bit of a miscommunication there. You flame break out of the arrow setup, but okay. If you can catch Wish still, it's still the ideal. Wish has the Yule, set up for the arrow, just slightly, a bit of a stun. You can slow him down with a Scotty. Now Wish, second charge of refraction, not gonna help him enough, and that's gonna be Wish done.
Death 1,000 cuts.
The game is just really difficult from here. Like, if the game was a little bit more even at this stage and we were looking at a late game fight, maybe that's when you don't want to just lasso the Timbersaw. But the way that you want to just play around a TV when he's this big, well, I thought we might get right here. Where Spartan is going to die to the conjure images. There's going to be the reflection, doing a fair amount. We'll get up to the high ground at least. tanky illusion.
Oh no, no!
Stun strike is going to pick them off. Now Skylark left behind it, going absolutely nowhere. Gets at least a little timber chain off, but he's down there by Snake Kick. 3 dead for Brame. It's going to be another tier 2 tower taken down in favor of Tundra. They're already TPing with that Rider down bottom. It's really the best way to go.
As I say, I feel bad for Spartan, but watching a Viper struggle, a certain kind of joy that I can't. He's just dead every single time.
Yeah.
And he's playing like Spartan usually plays, where he tries to make plays that are risky and waste the enemy's time, but then he realizes, oh, I'm a slow, lumbering, spitting object. I do nothing. And he's using smoke this time. You think it's for the smoke surprise, but he's gonna fight someone. He's leading the charge as well, Spartan style. He might just be able to kill the advantage. They disrupted Skiter as well. They might purge. Fata will die, and they do accomplish it. Alright. Spartan's happy. Done it. He killed the opposing 5.
Yeah,
it's a start.
And Invoker right now without a Vessel charge somehow. I'm not really sure how he ended up in this current position. Is not really going to be too hard of a counter currently to Skylark. Can't quite solo kill him. He's going to need the +1 in that regard. Working out pretty nicely for them. Yeah, I think there's a lot of catharsis in this game. You know, I think a lot of us got some bad Timber, you know, problems or games as well. There's another one where, unfortunately for Skylark, he is quite the beating. Goes Snake. Just farming. Look how casually he's farming the waves here. Yeah, they're gonna try and maybe kill him. They're snaking is completely alone. Skylark was checking the high ground. They're like, what is this, Spartan? Well, this guy's all alone? Are you kidding me? And yeah, he's just gonna TP away.
To be fair to Skylark, I think there's something that
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Brame plays with relatively green mid and kind of where they're both kind of usually fulfill either a dual core or at least a semi-win condition. I'll table that point in a second. Ti10 double, which is gonna die to the Scotty. Yeah, so because they usually are like quite greedy, Skylark, whenever he's left in a position where his win is his lane, he tends to struggle to get back online because he can't never steal. He can't never steal farm from his other. Right? Whereas you see Tundra for a while, they let snaking be the core while Batrider kind of played aggressive. I don't think Skylark had that option. Again, there's more philosophy than a criticism. It depends on how you think about Dota. But yeah, Skylark is struggling. He's gonna.
I mean,
yeah,
just to continue your point,
stops the Timber chain.
Look where he's taking.
I think he's gonna.
He's
that's like, because he has to.
Right?
Take what else can he do? Yeah. So that's my point. I feel like you can pinpoint the blame on Skylark, but it's a team effort. Oh, look at that. Tundra actually averages the fewest tower kills. Tundra is much more of a 4-1 kind of kill lineup, whereas Brame is the I'm gonna fight you to the death every single time. And I think it shows. So when Skylark struggles in the early game, team struggles mostly though. They're not a team that recovers by plays. They recovers by fighting more in true SCA style.
Yeah, no, that's to make things difficult to try and come back. I mean, Focus is already just left to get whatever farm is deemed safe enough, and now that's basically just whatever creep waves managed twos or where they stood and high ground. Not really a creep. At least try and venture forward with Manta illusions into the jungle to try and find any farm, but there's nothing here, Avo. It's all been taken. Tundra are just they're cleaning the plate here, so to speak, taking everything on the. Need to extend their worth lead to.
Tundra's a pretty choke in the enemy. They're quite methodic about this approach. I guess this fun is better. So it's tough for Brave to just fight farm. I think they're doing a pretty good job, even if they're dying as we're sold. At least they're making plays. I think skiter is actually. Booker found him. Yeah, there we go. Yule Scepter. The man just wants to fly with his Timber Chain, but instead there's all these Yules and tornadoes and everything. Oh, poor Skylark. He just wants to hit the ground occasionally, but every time he hits it, it's because he's going underground and going
Has to dive back home here and wishes and a terrible spot. There's just a fire everywhere. Refraction comes through immediately. Focus being ran down and he's trying to get this might have a kill here on Ti10, but the Sucker on Skiter keep him safe. 33 now right on top of Focus. Arrow on top of the tornadoes. Only gonna get swept up by that tornado. Mata even just looking to run down Focus as the illusions from Skiter are gonna force him back. Fortifies out from Brame. They don't have buyback from Wish. Mata gets the ulti triggered on it. Tower.
Radiant's
the
top
racks with this, I
tower
think.
is under attack.
You don't have Thunder, but your meta should last long enough.
Dire's
Need
middle
to at least take the
barracks
racks.
has fallen.
Yeah, he's still looking for the kill on Focus. 3-3 wants it. Hurricane Fly kind of was baited, but the arrow will hit, and Focus dead. Spartan. The Tornado will hit despite the Flame Break. Yoza does at least protect him a bit, but the Illusion might just heal with Spartan. That's going to be the last Illusion hit, finishing him off. Going even further, Brame. Instead of force them on him flying, that's going to be yet another death in favor of Tundra. They even sent Skylark out of the base, but they don't have the tools to finish him off. Doesn't really matter as long as you can take the towers here. Brame is really bad.
Yep. And these guys went against each other in that three-way tiebreaker towards the end of season number 2. Tundra showing how they can be a little bit of OG, just stopping themselves though at the base of the enemy fountain, not going for any dives in this game. That prioritize buildings because they already have all the tier 2 towers. They've already taken care of tier 3 bottom Annalena barracks. Now only the shops which already crumbled, and now the lane there. Skylark, he's not standing for much longer. Focus, trying to get some fire onto Bata, just, standing his ground, very happy to get the ulti triggered there for more AD. Probably force that with a flame break into the lasso. He is taken down. Focus, trying to defend the barracks. Helplessly, none of the multi-shot arrows are doing just a darn thing. 9 pushing back Wish with the disarm. Catching Focus with that. So,
Yeah, and Tundra wants to continue putting the pressure. They know Brave is honestly really close to dying, and they might just want to put the last minute on the coffin here. They go for Focus. There's the Ice Wall. Focus, where are you going, buddy? Where are you going? Stay here and play. Focus, unfortunately, not like this game. Going to die first, as Spartan finally found a kill here. No, not going to prevent that. Spartan having no fun whatsoever. Poor man just dies. Wish at least trying to get the kill on 3-3, and we'll accomplish it. Now going for 9 next, but Wish, there's a Heaven Salvard. Wish you're not going to be able to kill 9. Wish you might be in trouble yourself. They want to slow him down somehow. Disruption. It's like at least Brame is holding their own despite the beta creep, so at least they get the kills they need. Ever going to make a comeback? I don't know. I'm trying to hide this up, but I do feel very difficult.
It's difficult, right? I mean, you got the Bat Rider, you got Bata, that's not bad. But you've also got now Megas already pouring into your base here. At 30 minutes, and Wish he can take care of them. Right? Sideblades are gonna do well to at least make sure that you're not gonna lose all your buildings immediately. But Timbersaw is not yet level 50. He doesn't have this around bomber time. Makes life a little bit difficult for him when he's trying to take care of things. So I think Brame are gonna look just for a super YOLO Roshan play. I don't even know if they can finish this fast enough, but they're gonna lose the base super quickly. Arrow's gonna find Skylark. There's gonna be a Sunstrike on top. The buyback got from 33. Skylark getting killed off by Roche, gets off the Essence Ring. It's Snaking who's trying to finish up the kill. Skitter nearby as well, interrupting the party in the Roshan pit. And it's gonna be Tundra. Just thanking Brame for getting roasted. So has even found Focus now with the flaming lasso. 9 to close the gap. Snake King was there as well. Going to beat that Tundra straight back into the base, slamming the door shut on Brame in this game. And number 2 is the GG well played. It's called the Tundra in 2-0 win. Like, well, repeating their tiebreaker performance here for 2 games in a row.